morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, April 3rd, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker. J-Book, the Buckeyes landed Taron Vincent yesterday. So for everybody that was wondering out there, are the Buckeyes ever going to land a five-star defensive tackle? Well, heck yeah. They finally did yesterday. He is the number one defensive tackle in the country, number 14 overall player. He's already 6'2", 285 pounds. This vaults the Buckeyes now up to the number 7 class in the country, even though they only have 5 prospects in that class. The average star rating I saw J-Book is like 98. So they're doing pretty well as far as average star rating again. Joan, I think Dwayne must still be dancing naked in the street with this Taron Vincent news.
Yeah, I hope there's no police reports with Dwayne's name on it for indecent exposure out there running around naked after the big news. I mean, this is absolutely exciting, Dave. I've been waiting for the difference maker defensive tackle for years. I mean, you look at the names Ohio State has missed on. You know, you can go, 9 strong, Rashawn Gary, Dexter Lawrence, Neville Gallimore, who else? It's a whole slew of guys. Christian Wilkins, Marvin Wilson, Jay Tupele, Antoine Jackson, Terry Bretner. The list just goes on and on of the difference makers inside that Ohio State has missed on over the years, and they finally was able to capture Willy Wonka's golden ticket, and it is a glorious day for Ohio State. And as you mentioned, the 2018 class, the rating right now is a 98 per recruit. They only got 5 guys, but what a start to this class.
I don't know, a lot of fans have wondered, can Vincent play the one tech? A lot of people assume he's a 3 tech because he's 285 pounds, but he's 285 pounds, as a high school junior. He's now entering his high school senior year. So if he's already 285, how big do you think he will get? Do you think he can play both 3 tech and 1 tech, or do you think he's just a 3 tech?
I think he can play a little bit of both. As you mentioned, 285 right now. You get him in Ohio State strength and conditioning and nutritional program, you can probably see a guy easily get up to, 305 and still have that fast twitch. And the thing about him, though, is he's an every down defensive tackle. A lot of times whenever you have one technique, big guys that are 325, big Hankins, a lot of those guys have to come out on third down and they want to get a more speed presence inside, a pass rushing ability. Vincent has all the tools. I mean, he's not a massive Marvin Wilson type of guy, but he has plenty of size right now. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to continue to grow his height-wise, but I'm very comfortable with him being able to slide over to a one technique if they need him to.
Looking at the current team, let's stay with the defensive tackle theme. Looking at the current defensive tackles on the team, Draymond Jones is having a good spring. He's running with the ones. That's no surprise. He was a starter last year. Robert Landers also running with the ones during spring, having a good spring. Mike Hill a little bit in the doghouse. I can't say exactly what he did, but it's nothing terrible. It's like I'll put it this way: it's kind of college kid stuff that we tend to run into every once in a while with players. So. He's kind of in the doghouse, but I'm hearing he's working his way out. He's running with the second team. I'm not worried about Mike Hill long term. I'm not worried about Draymond Jones. In fact, I think Draymond Jones is going to have a big year. I'm not worried about Robert Landers. Let's talk about some of the other guys. Devon Hamilton, I thought, played pretty well as a redshirt freshman last year. He's got the broken foot, though, now. They think he's going to be back by June. I tend to think that's optimistic. I mean, these foot injuries, as you know, being a football player, they can linger. Are you concerned about Devon Hamilton, or do you think he's going to be fine this year as a third-year sophomore?
I'm concerned about him. Foot injuries are very tricky, especially for a guy his size. Whenever you see offensive linemen or defensive linemen have foot issues, it tends to linger on because those guys, they're using that push off to get off the line of scrimmage, and that explosion kind of goes away and it kind of lingers. They may think it's healed, but it's still bothering him because it's sore. He's getting sharp pin pain. I'm a little concerned that he's going to be available up to his potential. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him kind of fall back behind the scenes just trying to get the foot healthy.
And looking at some of the other guys, they've got guys like Malik Barrow, Jayshon Cornell, obviously Tracy Sprinkle coming back from the real serious knee injury, the torn patellar tendon. I've had a lot of people ask me about that. Like, yes, he is practicing, and they expect him to be ready to go when the season starts. I just, I hope the explosion is back there and that knee, he's going to be fine. But that's a serious injury. It's even more serious than an ACL tear, for example. So, but it's good news that Tracy Sprinkle's back and practicing. But of those young guys, are you high on any of those guys? Are you optimistic about Malik Barrow, Jayshon Cornell? Do you think any of those guys can step up and really help out this year?
I do, and I think this is going to be a very productive group. It's not the huge star power names right now. I saw one mock draft that had actually CBS did their rankings, and they had Mike Hill as the number 5 D tackle in the country going into this season. So they're very optimistic about that. I think Draymond Jones has all Big Ten type of potential. Now the guys that we've been hearing about, there's a lot of smoke and chatter that Jayshon Cornell is actually starting to turn it on. The light seems to have come on for him. One of the biggest knocks, our sources in the boarding house said that he needed to get stronger. He wasn't as strong as what they wanted him to be at the point of attack, and he finally really committed himself to the strength and conditioning program. And then you have Malik Barrow, who was an absolute stud at IMG, same academy as Taron Vincent, until he tore his knee up. He was dominating. So to see what he is at coming back from his red shirt and rehabbing his knee is going to be a wild card in there, because if he can get back to form, that's a potential guy who can be very disrupted in the middle. Tracy Sprinkle, I'm not too worried about him. He's a savvy vet coming back. The good silver lining about him hurting his knee was it was so early in the season that he should be ready to go by fall camp. And that just provides solid depth to the position. So I think they're going to be very productive inside. We're going to need them to keep Chris Worley clean in the middle. So it's going to be very imperative that those guys play at a high level to keep the linebackers being able to flow from sideline to sideline.
Speaking of the linebackers and speaking of the middle linebackers, Justin Hilliard has stepped up, having a good spring. He's backing up Chris Worley at that middle linebacker spot, and that's big for a few reasons. First of all, obviously Justin Hilliard, he has the talent. He was the only, 5-star recruit in that 2015 class for Ohio State, although Jerome Baker, probably should have been a 5-star recruit. But it's good to see Justin Hilliard stepping up, because guy that was injured his first couple years, and Baron Browning, J-Book, with Baron Browning being hurt, and they hope to have him back by the start of the season. It's an old shoulder injury, but he needed surgery on it. He was running with the third team, and there were some thoughts maybe he could push for some playing time. So I just want to get your thoughts on Justin Hilliard stepping up. Is this something that, you think he can keep it going? Do you think he can maybe push Chris Worley for playing time? Just what are your thoughts on Justin Hilliard stepping up this spring?
Yeah, I'm not seeing him pushing Worley for playing time. I think that's pretty locked and solid there. The big thing is this is huge. This is very important that Justin Hilliard stays healthy, as you mentioned with Baron Browning, because if you take a look at it, the Chris Worley moving to the mic is actually an experiment. We don't know if his body's going to be able to hold up to take that type of physical beating that is going to be called upon. He's not a huge mic, so we don't know if he's going to be able to hold up at that position. Hopefully he does, and he thrives in that position. But if he doesn't, then they're going to need Justin Hilliard to step up and live up to the recruiting rankings and the hype. So it's very important that he stays healthy. You also have Tuff Borland, who could maybe slide in there, and then Nick Connor's also injured with the knee. So when you look at that linebacker depth is at the mic position, I'm a little queasy about it. I'm optimistic for the simple fact that we need to see Justin Hilliard stay healthy. If he goes down, then that's going to create a huge void at that position as far as people who's going to be able to back up Chris Worley.
Before I let you go, let's go over the offensive side of the ball. This is really the story of last week, but I haven't talked to you since this happened. Parris Campbell moving to the H-back position, taking over for Curtis Samuel. Urban Meyer talking him up, how much he loves Parris Campbell. He thinks he's going to have a big year. I know fans are, they're a little skeptical. Most fans think, he can't catch the ball, but I watch him in practice. He catches the ball well. Maybe this is the year Parris Campbell steps up and has a huge year. Just your thoughts on Parris Campbell moving to that H-back spot.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. Every spring we have a guy who's hyped up. There's a guy in the springtime that the fans or the coaches are saying this guy's going to be the next, XYZ, you name him. And the hype that's surrounding Parris Campbell, I've never seen before. I mean, Walter Sports, the premier the premier NFL draft, has Parris Campbell going in the first round next year to the Vikings as the fourth wide receiver off the board. I mean, this is the guy who was dropping, first down button curls, hitting them in the chest against Michigan and dropping quick slants in stride against Virginia Tech. That's water under the bridge right now. We're moving on considering he's moving to the H. Urban Meyer is hyping this guy up something fierce. He's always been a favorite of Urban. So the hype is there. I want to see him do it. I mean, yes, we're probably going to see some spectacular plays in practice or the spring game. But when the lights are bright, the stage is big, the pressure's on, we're in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, is Parris Campbell going to make the easy catch? And that's the big question mark surrounding him his whole career. He's a young guy that's been in the program, still young. So let's see how he does. I'm a true believer. Get the ball in his hands as quickly as possible and let him do his damage. And I think he's going to be able to do that at the H-back position. So that has a lot of people very excited, especially when you saw how explosive he was when the kickoff returned. So instead of moving him, instead of having him on the outside, moving him into the inside to replace Curtis Samuel, gives fans and Urban Meyer a lot of hope, especially in Kevin Wilson's offense. So it's a lot of optimism, but it's a lot of to be determined to see how he actually performs on the big stage.
Great wisdom, as always, from Jonah Booker. You can catch his column every week. It is Outside Columbus. Thank you very much, Jay Book, and thanks to all listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.